Few days back, I had posted that I had serviced my Moxon Yagi as it was not working well after 1.5 years of service, cleaned up the contacts, resoldered and mounted it back. Today I had the opportunity to test it out. There was a good pass of International Space Station with about 35 degrees maximum elevation in my region at around 10 o'clock in the morning. So I went and rotated the antenna from the base towards the direction of the pass, that is almost the azimuth of maximum elevation, and then I went back to my shack and started listening the radio. This was the pass direction as seen on n2yo.com, which I depend on for locating the direction of passes. And I usually use Argentinian AMSAT website for tracking Doppler on a minute-to-minute basis. But today, unfortunately, that site was down, so I had to track depending on my memory that I'll start with 10 kilohertz above the nominal frequency. Then in another 2 minutes, I'll bring down to 5 kilohertz above the nominal frequency. At the time of closest approach, I will bring it to 437.800 megahertz, that is the nominal frequency, and later will reduce by 5 kilohertz after 2 or 3 minutes. So that's how I tune Doppler when the website is not functioning, that is from memory, my memory. I was quite happy to hear my own signal down on the downlink. So I knew that the satellite is working and my antenna is working well. And soon I heard the beacon, NA1SS CW modulated beacon I could hear. That is FM modulated by audio tone, CW, NA1SS, that was also heard. But being 10 a.m. on a working day, there was no one to answer my calls. That is usual in this region. Moxon Yagi has not been working well for the past few weeks or so, and I have not been having satellite contacts for quite some time. So I thought of bringing it down, and you can see what is happening. Everything is rusted. The contacts are quite rusted. So I think I'll have to do a little bit of servicing for this Moxon Yagi. Otherwise it will not be very good. I am planning to remove this L clamp along with that SO239 connector, and probably I'll unscrew those screws over there and fix it up properly with another setup and see how much it will improve. Couple of days back I tried to receive International Space Station and I could not hear anything. That's why I thought of servicing this Moxon Yagi. I am removing this PL259 from SO239. That's the first step I am doing. Next, I'll have to remove these screws and that clamp. The clamp has been unscrewed and removed from the PVC boom. Next, I'll have to remove these rusted screws. Here it is soldered also. And this screwdriver is not enough. I need a star-edged screwdriver for that. Now I have got a star-edged screwdriver, but even with that it will not be that easy because everything is rusted. Let me try for some time. A bit of effort I have been able to dismantle the feed point. So the feed point dismantling part is over. Now is to assemble it again. I have to find some screws. The PL259 looks good, so I think I won't have to change that. And that is a pre-crimped connector. I don't want to meddle it either. I bought it like that, so it is professionally done. For the SO239 part, as this clamp is everything very rusty, I am trying to see whether I can use this new bulk connector which I bought recently. The usual problem for me in case of this type of connector is to solder here, and I was not able to do that, and you can see that I have connected it by twisting the wire and there will be a loose contact. That's because while soldering, the whole thing is metal. The metal will conduct away the heat from the soldering iron and it will be very difficult to solder this joint with the usual soldering iron. Maybe with higher power and better techniques it might be possible. In this case, I have dismantled the new connector, and you can see that I just have to solder this point, the inner conductor, which will be usually easy because it is surrounded by non-conducting material. And here I can solder this eyelet. That's also thin metal, so I presume it will be easier. After that, I can assemble it using this nut. Pushed out this old 65-watt soldering iron from my junk box and cleaned the contacts as much as possible with sandpaper and a scraping knife. That's all I can do, and hope for the best. I cleaned the contacts and then I am just dipping it in solder paste. I am just dipping the soldering iron also, collecting a little bit of solder on this. A little bit of solder has been applied to the tip of the wire also. Applied a little bit of solder on the inner conductor also. Now the inner conductor has been soldered, and I hope that will be fine. Repeated the same process for the eyelet, and now I have two connections for the SO239 ready. I am trying out two new stainless steel screws for the Moxon element. The eyelet with the wire soldered has been fixed on the SO239 using the nut so that it is tight. Now the feed points have been screwed in to the Moxon element, and it's rather tight now with the stainless steel screws. The SO239 has been connected to the PL259 coming from the antenna cable. Antenna cable is HLF 200 10 meters. Now the antenna has been mounted back in position. The Moxon Yagi is ready for me to work satellites, and I hope that I'll be able to have a good number of contacts with this. I'm now rotating the Moxon Yagi, catching the base of the antenna. This is how I rotate it towards the position. This is a fixed elevation about 20 degrees upwards, so there is no possibility of rotation in elevation. Only azimuth rotation is possible. The two manual before the pass and sometimes in between the pass. 2 hours to service my Moxon Yagi after about 1.5 years of service. We keep the antenna pointed in the direction of maximum elevation. There's a pass coming up at about 9:50 AM, but now I have a problem. When I rotate the antenna in the direction, it is quite near my fan dipole antenna, so that is likely to interfere with my Moxon Yagi, but I can't help it. I can't bring down my fan dipole just for one satellite pass. See what happened when I tried to rotate the antenna. One of the elements of the fan dipole, that is the 10-meter element, has been entangled in one of the directors of the Moxon Yagi. Now we'll have to have some trouble getting it out. It with a pipe, and I think I have been successful in disengaging, but in future I'll have to be careful not to rotate this antenna in this direction. SWR sweep from 144 to 146 megahertz for the Moxon Yagi, and you can see that the SWR is in the range of 1.5, nearly 1.5. Then I am checking the commercial CP22E antenna. You can see that the SWR is lower, 1.238. Comparison with the antenna removed, you can see that the SWR is quite high, about 10.